Zhang Yao was 25 years old, trapped in endless marriage urging from her mother. Her mother was so anxious about her being single that she arranged 3 blind dates for her within a single week. The first 2 blind dates turned out to be terrible and bizarre. The first man straightforwardly hoped that Zhang Yao would resign from her job and become a full-time housewife after marriage, devoting herself entirely to family and child rearing. The second date, barely 10 minutes after they met, made a detailed list of housing loans, car loans, and elderly support burdens, planning to pile all life pressure onto Zhang Yao, leaving her filled with resistance and depression. For the third blind date, her mother spared no effort in praising the man's superior conditions and overseas returnee, born into a business family, mature, steady, and with no bad habits like smoking or drinking. His photo also looked elegant and agreeable. With continuous soft persuasion, her mother begged Zhang Yao to take this date seriously. Unable to bear disappointing her mother's earnest expectations, Zhang Yao agreed reluctantly and headed to the blind date restaurant. She was stuck in traffic and arrived half an hour late. Flustered and hurried, she walked straight into the innermost private room without checking the table number, following the restaurant attendant's guidance casually. After sitting down, Zhang Yao caught sight of the man opposite her. He had a handsome and refined appearance, with an aloof and noble temperament. His fingers were well-defined, his wrist bone pale and cold, and his overall aura seemed completely out of place in an ordinary blind date restaurant. His looks were far beyond those of average blind date partners. Without thinking much, she spoke her mind frankly the moment she sat down. She admitted plainly that her salary was average, her temper was ordinary, and she was under huge pressure from marriage urging. She told him directly that if he was also forced to come to the blind date by his family, they might as well finish the meal and delete each other's contact without wasting each other's time. The man, Shen Huayue Cheng, raised his eyes to look at her, fell silent for 2 seconds, then let out a low chuckle. He pushed the menu toward her and agreed calmly to have dinner first, saying they could discuss deleting contacts after the meal. Without noticing anything wrong, Zhang Yao relaxed and began to complain freely. For 40 whole minutes, Shen Huayue Cheng spoke very little yet listened with extraordinary concentration. He watched her quietly, never interrupting or rushing her, accompanying her to chat patiently all the time. Zhang Yao poured out her frustrations without reservation. She complained about the 2 weird blind date partners she had met before, her mother's endless marriage urging, unreasonable new rules and regulations in the company, and even boldly mocked the mysterious behind-the-scenes CEO of her company who never showed up in public. She said frankly that every company plan needed the final approval of this reclusive big boss. He never came to the office, yet his vision was sharp and his requirements extremely strict. Every time he rejected a plan, the entire department would fall into panic and anxiety. Shen Huayue Cheng listened quietly, sipping tea lightly with the corners of his mouth curving up subtly. He asked if she was very afraid of this boss. Zhang Yao replied that anyone would be intimidated by such a reclusive high-ranking figure. In her opinion, such a powerful and mysterious man must be either a cold-faced taskmaster or a control freak, definitely hard to get along with. Shen Huayue Cheng questioned why she jumped to conclusions so easily. He also teased her for judging him as gentle merely by his appearance, which was rather arbitrary. His ambiguous words made Zhang Yao's ears burn instantly, and she hurriedly changed the subject in embarrassment. Curious about his reason for coming to the blind date, Zhang Yao asked him directly. Shen Huayue Cheng answered it was arranged by his family. He had originally had no intention of getting married, yet, after meeting her, he suddenly thought it might be worthwhile to consider settling down. His straightforward, sincere confession made Zhang Yao's heart race with shock and uncontrollable flutter. Throughout the dinner, Shen Huayue Cheng never asked about her salary, house, car, marriage plans, fertility intentions, cooking skills, or other worldly trivialities. He only accompanied her gently, responded appropriately when she was awkward, and smiled softly from time to time, gradually dispelling all Zhang Yao OS resistance toward blind dates. When the dinner ended and Zhang Yao walked out of the restaurant, her mother called immediately, telling her that the real blind date partner, Mr. Lee, was waiting for her in the Orchid Hall on the second floor. Zhang Yao's mind went blank in an instant. She turned to look at the man beside her and suddenly realized she had walked into the wrong blind date room. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, she apologized repeatedly, explaining she had accidentally entered the wrong private room with no deliberate intention. Shen Yue Cheng looked calm and composed, admitting he had seen through her mistake from the very start. He simply found her opening remark of deleting each other after dinner quite interesting, so he chose not to expose her on the spot. Zhang Yao was so embarrassed that she wanted to disappear on the spot and planned to flee immediately. Just as she turned to leave, her wrist was gently held by Shen Yue Cheng. His palm was warm, his demeanor gentle yet earnest. He suggested that since they had met by mistake, they might as well try being together. He handed her his business card, telling her to think it over and give him an answer the next day. Zhang Yao walked home in a daze. When she opened the business card, she was completely stunned. The man's name was Shen Yue Cheng, exactly the reclusive and intimidating executive president of her company. Thinking that she had unscrupulously mocked the company rules, her superiors and even himself right in front of the big boss, Zhang Yao suffered extreme social embarrassment. She was filled with anxiety, worrying about being deliberately made things difficult for targeted in the workplace afterward. The next day, Zhang Yao went to work with dark circles under her eyes. The whole department was bustling nervously preparing for the headquarters regular meeting in the afternoon, while her mind was full of Shen Yue Cheng's confession and the warmth of his touch, feeling both shy and flustered. At 10 o'clock in the morning, shocking news spread throughout the workplace. Shen Yue Cheng, who never set foot in the company, was coming in person. All staff were stunned and buzzing with surprise. Zhang Yao panicked instantly, knowing an awkward encounter was inevitable. A group of senior executives escorted Shen Yue Cheng into the office area. He wore a black shirt with a tall and refined figure, looking exactly the same as he had at the blind date the night before. He walked straight ahead without glancing sideways, yet casually cast a faint glance toward Zhang Yao's workstation when passing by, making her ears burn at once. During the headquarters meeting, Zhang Yao deliberately sat in the corner to minimize her presence. But Shen Yue Cheng specifically named her team to report on plan details. Zhang Yao stood up nervously to make the report and gradually calmed down as she talked about familiar work content. After her report, Shen Yue Cheng repeated her mocking words about him from the previous night publicly, quoting her comment that he was a cold-faced taskmaster and a control freak. The meeting room fell into dead silence instantly, and all colleagues stared at Zhang Yao in shock, leaving her so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole to hide. However, Shen Yue Cheng showed no intention of blaming her. Instead, he smoothed over the awkward moment with a casual joking tone, asking if she still thought the same way now. Zhang Yao denied softly, feeling grateful for his thoughtfulness amid embarrassment. After the meeting, Zhang Yao fled to the pantry to relax, only to find Shen Yue Cheng standing there pouring coffee alone. He took the initiative to tease her for being talkative and outspoken the night before, yet shy and too nervous to look at him today. The pantry was small and narrow. He stepped closer gradually, and Zhang Yao stepped back until her waist leaned against the edge of the counter, leaving her nowhere to retreat. He trapped her between himself and the counter, creating an ambiguous and tense atmosphere without even touching her. Zhang Yao hurriedly explained she had no intention of mocking him on purpose. Yue Cheng interrupted her gently, asking why she had never contacted him after reading his business card. Zhang Yao admitted she thought he was just joking casually, while Shen Yue Cheng stated solemnly that he had never been playful about it. During their conversation, Shen Yue Cheng revealed their long-standing fate and previous encounter. At the company annual party the year before, Zhang Yao drank alcohol on behalf of her colleagues and felt unwell while blowing wind on the terrace. It was him who handed her a cup of hot water and cared for her thoughtfully. He had also silently noticed her kind daily deeds, taking the blame for interns voluntarily, giving away the last portion of sweet and sour pork ribs to others, and leaving her umbrella to colleagues on rainy days while walking home in the rain herself. Yue Chen confessed that he had noticed and fallen for Zhang Yao a long time ago. He recognized her at first sight the night of the blind date and chose not to expose her mistake for fear that she would run away in embarrassment. He admitted frankly that all his affection and intention to date her were sincere. In response to Zhang Yao's confusion, he listed the reasons for his heartbeat. She was timid yet always warm-hearted and ready to stand up for others. Her ears would turn red whenever she felt nervous. The moment she walked into the private room by mistake made him feel he had finally got a chance to approach her. Overwhelmed by emotion, Shenhua Yue Cheng gently touched her lobby. His subtle teasing made Zhang Yao numb all over and burn with shyness instantly. He trapped her in front of him casually and teased softly, asking again whether they should delete each other or try being together. Zhang Yao completely fell for him and replied shyly that she would not delete his contact anymore. Shenhua Yue Cheng confessed earnestly, abandoning the casual word make do, and solemnly told her he wanted to pursue her formally. From then on, Shenhua Yue Cheng started his gentle and measured pursuit. In the workplace, he was the cold, dignified and intimidating President Shen who commanded respect from all staff, keeping work and private life perfectly separate with proper demeanor. When they were alone in private, however, he was gentle, doting and endlessly teasing. He would quietly prepare her favorite taro cake for her overtime work, optimize work plans in advance and send them to her, and wait downstairs to drop her home right after work. When Zhang Yao fell asleep in his car, he would wait quietly beside her and gently wipe the cream off the corner of her mouth tenderly after she woke up. After a company dinner, Zhang Yao nearly twisted her ankle in high heels in the parking lot and accidentally bumped into his chest. He held her in his arms steadily to protect her without making it obvious, ambiguous and restrained. What finally made Zhang Yao let go of all defenses and fall completely in love was a late night overtime. She was the only one left on the entire office floor. The printer jammed suddenly, and she struggled to fix it for a long time, leaving her fingers scratched and ripped by paper edges. Shenhua Yue Cheng appeared quietly behind her and offered to help. He fixed the machine quickly with neat movements. Seeing her injured fingers, he looked distressed and took her forcefully to the lounge next to the president's office, taking out a first aid kit to disinfect and treat her wound carefully. In the closed and private lounge, the atmosphere grew warm and ambiguous. Shenhua Yue Cheng squatted in front of her with a serious and gentle expression. After dressing her wound, he was reluctant to let go of her hand and asked softly if he could kiss her. Zhang Yao nodded shyly in tacit consent. Shenhua Yue Cheng leaned down gently, testing cautiously at first, then deepening the kiss slowly with lingering affection and ambiguity. He restrained himself perfectly, holding her tenderly in his arms, admitting he could hardly control himself if he went further, and stopped appropriately. Yet he had already made Zhang Yao's heart flutter and sink deeply for him. Later that night, Shenhua Yue Cheng sent Zhang Yao home. The atmosphere inside the car was quiet and warm. He asked for her final answer again. Zhang Yao let go of all hesitation and agreed to be with him. Nah. Yue Cheng was overjoyed and held her tightly in his arms, confessing that their fate was no accident but his long-planned affection finally fulfilled. After officially becoming a couple, their office romance unfolded quietly. Shenhua Yue Cheng made no attempt to hide his preference for her. He was gentle and doting in private while silently protecting her in public, bringing her breakfast, handing her coffee, putting his coat on her shoulder, showing exclusive love in every gesture. After their relationship became known to the whole company, everyone was curious about how an ordinary girl like Zhang Yao had won the cold and aloof President Shen. She only smiled and attributed their fate to walking into the wrong blind date room. Yet deep down she knew clearly it was his long silent attention and deliberate pursuit all along. When Zhang Yao's mother learned about their relationship, she was shocked beyond words and sighed that she should have arranged more blind dates if she had known walking into the wrong room could lead to such an outstanding partner. Yue Cheng held Zhang Yao's hand gently, speaking calmly to her mother that he had already taken her away and would never let go for the rest of his life. He whispered a promise of exclusive love and lifelong commitment beside her ear. Gentle and restrained as he was, Shen Yue Cheng devoted all his deep affection and doting only to Zhang Yao, and their relationship ended perfectly with mutual affection and devotion.